The thunder crashes like gunshots as 9 leather-clad Hell's Angels pound on the rain-streaked glass of Mama Ruth's kitchen. It's midnight in Memphis, and 73-year-old Ruth Washington stands frozen behind her counter, heart hammering against her ribs. These aren't just any bikers. Skull patches gleam on wet leather. Beards drip with storm water. Arms covered in tattoos that tell stories she doesn't want to know. Ruth's hand hovers over the phone. Every instinct screams, run. Every news story she's ever heard about motorcycle gangs floods her mind. She's alone. Vulnerable. One elderly black woman against 9 men who look like they could crush her with their bare hands. But something in their eyes stops her cold. It isn't menace she sees through that rain-soaked glass. It's desperation. Ruth had no idea that the man with the skull tattoo standing in her doorway wasn't just any biker. What happens next will transform this struggling grandmother's life forever. But let's step back. To understand what happens next, you need to know who Ruth Washington really is. 5 a.m. Memphis is still sleeping, but Ruth's '92 Honda coughs to life in the pre-dawn darkness. She's been making this drive for 40 years. Same route. Same determination, same fear that today might be the day she can't keep going. Mama Ruth's kitchen sits on the corner of Elm and 3rd, a faded green building that's seen better decades. The paint peels like old skin. The neon sign flickers the word open in stuttering pink letters. Ruth turns the key and steps into her world. The smell hits her first. Bacon grease from yesterday. Coffee that's been brewing in these walls for 4 decades. Hope mixed with desperation. This isn't just a diner. It's Ruth's entire life, compressed into 900 square feet of checkered linoleum and cracked vinyl booths. She flips the lights. 6 tables have out-of-order signs. Torn seats she can't afford to fix. The coffee machine wheezes like an old man climbing stairs. Ruth pats its side gently. Come on, baby. Just one more day. Her morning routine is a ritual now. Check the register. $127 from yesterday. Count the bills on the counter. Rent notice, 3 months overdue. Electric company warning in red letters. Food supplier demanding payment before the next delivery. Ruth does the math in her head. It's the same every morning. The numbers never add up. She opens the refrigerator. Half a gallon of milk, 2 days past expiration. 3 eggs. Leftover meatloaf from Sunday. Ruth has been stretching everything watering down the coffee, cutting portions smaller, eating nothing herself so customers can have more. The bell jingles. Mr. Jenkins shuffles in, counting quarters in his weathered palm. 87 years old. Social Security doesn't stretch far. Morning, Mama Ruth. Coffee and toast? Ruth smiles. It's genuine despite everything. Coming right up, honey. You want butter on that toast? She knows he'll say yes. She knows he's got exactly 75 cents. She knows the coffee and toast cost $1.50. She's never charged him full price, not once in 15 years. Here you go, sugar. She sets down the plate. The coffee cup is fuller than it should be. What do I owe you, Mama Ruth? 75 cents is just fine, Mr. Jenkins. He drops the quarters on the counter with shaking fingers. Ruth pretends not to notice the relief in his eyes. This is who Ruth Washington is. A woman who gives away what she can't afford to lose. The breakfast rush, if you can call 4 people a rush, trickles in. Maya brings her twins, an 8-year-old boy and girl who do homework at table 6 while she works her cleaning job downtown. Ruth slides them each a cookie. 50 cents, she says, though the cookies cost her twice that to make. Maya counts out 2 quarters, looking guilty. I get paid Friday, Mama Ruth. I can... Hush now, baby. Those children need their snacks. By noon, Ruth had served 12 people. Made $83, spent $95 on supplies and utilities. She's losing money every single day, but she can't stop. This diner isn't just her business. It's the neighborhood's heart. Ruth walks to the trophy case by the window. Samuel's military commendation gleams behind dusty glass. Her husband's purple heart, his bronze star, his smile in their wedding photo, 1972. Next to his medals sits a faded photograph she doesn't often share. A skinny teenage boy, maybe 16, sitting at the counter with tears in his eyes. She'd written on the back in careful script, "Tommy, 2014. Hope you made it home safe." Ruth touches the glass gently. "Samuel, I don't know how much longer I can keep this going." The diner has been their dream since day one. Samuel worked construction during the day. Ruth served tables at night. They saved every penny for 10 years to buy this place. "Gonna feed the whole neighborhood," Samuel used to say. "Gonna be a place where everybody belongs." He'd been right. For 30 years, this diner was exactly that. Birthday parties in the back booth, job celebrations over coffee and pie, teenagers with nowhere else to go, getting free meals and life advice, families struggling through hard times, knowing Ruth would never let them leave hungry. But gentrification hit the neighborhood hard. Young families moved to suburbs, small businesses closed. The community that sustained Ruth's kitchen slowly scattered to the winds. Ruth won't abandon the people who remain, can't abandon them. Mr. Jenkins needs his morning coffee. Maya's twins need their after-school cookies. The few customers who still come need to know this place will be here tomorrow, even if tomorrow looks impossible. Ruth opens her purse and counts the bills inside. $43, her life savings. She looks at her wedding ring, the only valuable thing she owns. The gold catches the afternoon light streaming through dirty windows. "Not yet, Samuel," she whispers to his photograph. "I'm not giving up on our dream yet." But as she closes the register and watches another potential customer walk past without entering, Ruth Washington wonders if dreams are enough to keep the lights on. The storm warning on her radio crackles to life. Severe weather approaching Memphis. Take shelter immediately. Ruth decides to stay open late tonight. In a storm, someone might need a warm place. Someone might need help. She has no idea how much help she's about to provide, or how much trouble that kindness will cost her. The storm warning wasn't kidding. By 9 p.m., Memphis looks like it's under attack. Rain hammers the diner's windows like machine gun fire. Lightning turns the sky electric white every few seconds. Thunder shakes the building down to its foundation. Ruth should have closed hours ago. Should have gone home to her small apartment above the Korean grocery store. Should have been safe and warm in bed. Instead, she's wiping down tables that don't need wiping, brewing fresh coffee nobody's coming to drink, and watching the storm turn her neighborhood into a war zone. The Weather Service keeps broadcasting the same warning. Tornado watch in effect. Flash flood warning. Seek immediate shelter. Do not attempt to travel. Ruth knows people are out there, people with nowhere to go, people who might need help. She's always been this way. Samuel used to tease her about it. "Ruth, you'd give shelter to the devil himself if he showed up looking cold and wet." Maybe tonight, she's about to find out if he was right. At 11:30, Ruth is cleaning the grill when she hears it. A sound that cuts through the storm like a blade through silk. Motorcycles, not just one. Multiple engines rumbling in formation despite the chaos outside. Ruth freezes, dish rag in hand as the sound grows closer. Through the rain-streaked window, she sees headlights. Big ones, cutting through the storm like angry eyes. The engines cut out. Sudden silence except for the rain and thunder. Ruth's heart starts hammering. She moves toward the window, each step heavy with dread. Her reflection stares back from the dark glass, and behind it, shapes moving through the storm. 9 motorcycles. Harley Davidsons by the look of them, chrome gleaming even in the dim light. 9 men in leather climbing off those bikes. Ruth's hand finds the phone. Her fingers hover over 911. Every instinct screams danger. Every news story about motorcycle gangs floods her mind. Then she sees the patches. Hell's Angels. The words send ice through her veins. These aren't just bikers. These are the bikers. The ones you cross the street to avoid. The ones who make their own rules and answer to nobody. But what she sees next stops her from dialing. They're not spreading out like predators. They're not checking for escape routes or casing the building. Instead, they're clustered around one man, protecting him, shielding him from the rain with their bodies. Something's wrong. The lead biker, massive shoulders, salt and pepper beard, arms like tree trunks covered in tattoos, approaches the door. His leather jacket is soaked through. His face is grim, but his eyes are desperate. He cups his hands against the glass and peers inside. Sees Ruth standing there, dish rag still in her trembling hand. Their eyes meet through the storm and glass. He mouths something. Ruth can't hear over the thunder, but she can read his lips. Please. The word hits her like a physical blow. Please, not a demand, not a threat, a plea. Behind him, Ruth can see the other men more clearly now. They're holding someone up, someone who's hurt, someone who needs help. The lead biker knocks on the glass, not pounding, not demanding, just knocking like any customer might. Ma'am! His voice carries over the storm. We're not looking for trouble. We've got a man down, medical emergency. Ruth's mind races. This could be a trick, could be a setup, could be the worst decision of her life. But what if it's not? Roads are flooded out there, the biker continues. Can't get him to a hospital. He's bleeding bad. Ruth looks closer. The man they're supporting is young, maybe mid-20s. His face is pale as paper. Blood soaks through his jeans. Please, ma'am. We just need shelter till we can get help. Samuel's voice echoes in Ruth's memory. Sometimes the angels come disguised as the people we're most afraid of. Ruth studies these men through the glass. They're huge, intimidating, covered in tattoos and leather that screams danger. But they're not acting like predators. They're acting like people in trouble. The injured man's head lolls to one side. Ruth can see his lips are blue. He's going into shock, going... Ruth Washington makes the decision that will change everything. She walks to the door. Her hand shakes as she reaches for the deadbolt. The metal feels cold as ice under her fingers. She looks back at Samuel's photograph one last time. His smile gives her strength. Samuel, she whispers, I hope you're watching over me now. The deadbolt clicks open. The door swings wide. Rain and wind blast into the diner like a living thing. The 9 Hells Angels stand in the doorway, water streaming from their leather, looking like something out of Ruth's worst nightmares. Bring him in, Ruth says, stepping back and gesturing toward the nearest booth. Hurry now. What Ruth doesn't know is that she's just opened her door to a miracle disguised as a nightmare. And by morning, nothing in her life will ever be the same. The 9 Hells Angels file into Ruth's diner like a scene from her worst nightmare. Leather drips rain onto her checkered floor. Boots thunder across linoleum. The smell of wet leather and motor oil fills the air. Ruth's heart pounds so hard she's sure they can hear it. But what happens next surprises her. Thank you, ma'am. The lead biker removes his helmet, revealing a weathered face with kind eyes. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Another voice. We're grateful. Much obliged, ma'am. One by one, they nod respectfully. These terrifying men with skull tattoos and chains hanging from their belts are saying ma'am, like they're talking to their grandmothers. Ruth blinks, refocuses. The injured man needs help. Put him right here, she says, clearing the nearest booth with quick, efficient movements. Years of running a diner have taught her how to handle emergencies. They lay the young man down gently. He's conscious but pale. Blood seeps through his jeans from a gash on his thigh. What's his name? Ruth asks, grabbing clean towels from behind the counter. Tommy, says the lead biker. His name's Tommy. Something flickers in Ruth's mind. Tommy. The name feels familiar somehow, but there's no time to think about it now. What happened to him? The bike slid out on the wet road about 5 miles back, hit a guardrail. We got him this far, but... Ruth examines the wound. Deep, but not life-threatening if treated properly. She's seen worse. Samuel had accidents at construction sites. She knows basic first aid. Tommy, honey, can you hear me? Ruth's voice is gentle, grandmotherly. The young man's eyes flutter open. Blue eyes, striking even in pain. He looks at Ruth with confusion, then recognition. Ma'am, His voice is weak. I'm sorry to bother you. Hush now, baby. You're not bothering anybody. I'm going to take care of you. Ruth turns to the bikers. Her fear is evaporating, replaced by purpose. I need you boys to move those tables. Make space. And somebody got me towels from the kitchen. Clean ones. They move like a military unit. No questions, no hesitation. Just immediate action. Thunder, get the towels. Bear, move those chairs. Captain, I need you to hold his shoulders steady. Ruth notices how they follow orders. This isn't chaos. This is an organization. What's your name, honey? Ruth asks the lead biker as she cleans Tommy's wound. They call me Captain, ma'am. Well, Captain, you and your boys did well getting him here. This wound's deep, but he's gonna be fine. Captain watches Ruth work with growing amazement. She's not just helping, she's taking charge. This elderly woman who was terrified minutes ago is now commanding 9 Hell's Angels like she's their sergeant. Ma'am, we can't pay you much, but I don't want your money. Ruth doesn't look up from Tommy's leg. Are you boys hungry? The question catches them off guard. They're outlaws. Criminals, maybe. People cross the street to avoid them, and this woman is asking if they're hungry. We don't want to impose, says a biker with arms like telephone poles. Baby, you're already here bleeding on my booth. The least I can do is make sure y'all get fed. Ruth stands, wipes her hands on a towel. I got leftover meatloaf. Some cornbread that's only a day old. Coffee that's been sitting too long, but it's hot. She looks around at 9 dangerous men who suddenly look like lost children. Now sit yourselves down while I get you something to eat. What follows is the strangest dinner service of Ruth's life. 9 Hell's Angels sitting in her diner, dripping wet, speaking in quiet voices. They use napkins. They say please and thank you. When one starts to put his boots on a chair, another stops him with just a look. Ruth serves them everything she has. Meatloaf, cornbread, green beans, coffee. She doesn't charge them, doesn't even mention money. This is the best meal we've had in months, Captain tells her. Yeah, right, Ruth waves him off. Day-old cornbread and leftover meatloaf. No, ma'am, I'm serious. It's not just the food, it's... He searches for words. It's being treated like human beings. Ruth pours him more coffee, studies his face. Underneath the beard and tattoos, she sees something unexpected. Pain. Loneliness. The look of someone who's been judged too many times. What's your real name, Captain? He hesitates. Michael, ma'am. Michael Rodriguez. Well, Michael, everybody's human. Everybody deserves a hot meal and kindness. As the hours pass, Ruth tends to Tommy, changes his bandages, brings him water, check his temperature. The wound is clean, but he's developed a fever. Around 3 a.m., Tommy's condition worsens. He's burning up, delirious. Ruth recognizes the signs of infection. We need to get him to a hospital, she announces. Roads are still flooded, says Michael. Ambulances can't get through. Ruth looks out the window. The storm has lessened, but standing water covers the streets. Then we go to the hospital. Ma'am? I said we're going. I'm not losing this boy on my watch. Ruth grabs her purse and keys. Michael, your bike has room for a passenger? The bikers exchange glances. This 73-year-old grandmother just volunteered to ride a Harley through floodwaters to save someone she met 3 hours ago. Ma'am, that's dangerous. Honey, everything worth doing is dangerous. Ruth puts on her coat. Now let's go save this boy's life. The ride through Memphis at dawn is something Ruth will never forget. She sits behind Michael on his Harley, arms wrapped around his leather jacket, holding Tommy steady as they navigate flooded streets. 8 other motorcycles escort them through the storm. Ruth has never been on a motorcycle before, but she's not scared. She's focused, determined. This boy needs help, and she's going to make sure he gets it. At Memphis General, Ruth doesn't leave Tommy's side. She holds his hand while doctors clean and stitch his wound. She strokes his forehead while nurses start an IV. She calls him baby and honey like he's her own grandson. The bikers wait respectfully in the lobby, looking completely out of place among the clean hospital furniture. When the doctor emerges, Ruth is the first person he addresses. Your grandson is going to be fine. Good thing you got him here when you did. Ruth doesn't correct him. Tonight, Tommy is her grandson. Tonight, these 9 dangerous men are her boys. Tonight, family is whoever shows up when you need them most. As the sun rises over Memphis, painting the sky pink and gold, Tommy is stable and sleeping peacefully. Ruth Washington has just made the most important decision of her life. She just doesn't know it yet. By 7 a.m., Tommy is stable and resting. The storm has passed, leaving Memphis looking washed and wounded. Broken tree branches litter the streets. Power lines dangle like dead snakes. But the sun is shining, and Tommy is going to be okay. That's when Michael approaches Ruth in the hospital waiting room. Ma'am, we owe you more than we can ever repay. Ruth looks up from the magazine she's been pretending to read. These 9 men have been nothing but polite and grateful all night. Whatever she expected from Hell's Angels, this wasn't it. You don't owe me anything, honey. I just did what anybody would do. Michael reaches into his leather jacket. Ruth tenses for just a second, old habits, then relaxes as he pulls out a thick roll of bills. This is for you. For the food, for staying with Tommy, for everything. Ruth counts quickly. Has to be $2,000, maybe more. More money than she's seen in months. Money that could pay her rent, her electric bill, buy groceries, fix the broken booth seats. Money that could save her diner. She pushes it back toward Michael without hesitation. I don't want your money. Ma'am. I said I don't want it. You keep that for Tommy's medical bills. The other bikers exchange glances. They're not used to people refusing money, especially people who clearly need it. Ma'am, you opened your door to us in a storm. You fed us when you didn't have to. You rode through floodwaters to help our brother. And I'd do it again tomorrow. Ruth stands up, all 5 feet 2 inches of her. You were in trouble. I helped. That's what decent people do. Another biker tries. At least let us pay for the food. The food was leftovers anyway. It would have gone bad if nobody ate it. The coffee was gonna throw it out at closing time. Michael tries a different approach. Ma'am, we know you're struggling. We saw the bills on your counter, the out-of-order signs on your tables. Please, let us help. Ruth's spine stiffens. Pride flares in her eyes. My business troubles are my business, sugar, not yours. It's Tommy who breaks the stalemate. Ma'am. His voice is weak but clear. Can I talk to you for a minute? Ruth immediately goes to his bedside. What do you need, baby? Tommy reaches up and unclasps a silver chain from around his neck. A simple cross pendant hangs from it, worn smooth by years of wear. My grandmother gave me this when I was little. She passed away when I was 13. She was... Tommy's voice catches. She was a lot like you. Always helping people, always putting others first. He presses the chain into Ruth's palm. I want you to have it. Ruth's eyes fill with tears. The cross is small, simple, but it feels heavy with love and history. Tommy, I can't take this. This was your grandmother's. And now it's yours. She would have liked you. A lot. Ruth fastens the chain around her neck. The cross settles against her heart, warm from Tommy's skin. Michael pulls out a business card, plain white, expensive paper, just a phone number embossed in simple black letters. Ma'am, if you ever need anything, and I mean anything, you call this number. Ruth takes the card. Study it. The paper feels expensive, the kind successful businesses use. Strange for a motorcycle club. What kind of business are you in, Michael? Oh, we got our hands in a lot of things. Import, export, manufacturing. It's a non-answer, but Ruth doesn't press. These men have been nothing but respectful. She'll give them the same courtesy. Well, Michael, you take care of that boy. And you boys ride safe. Yes, ma'am, we will. One by one, the bikers approach Ruth. Each removes his helmet and nods respectfully, like soldiers acknowledging a superior officer. Thank you, ma'am. Much obliged. You're a saint, Mama Ruth. They file out of the hospital, leaving Ruth alone with Tommy for a few more minutes. You got good friends? She tells him. Tommy smiles weakly. Yeah, they're like family. We all look out for each other. Family's important, even when it's not a blood family. Yes, ma'am. That's something I learned a long time ago. There's something in the way he says it, something familiar. But before Ruth can think about it, the nurse comes to check Tommy's vitals. Ruth kisses his forehead like she's done for dozens of neighborhood kids over the years. You heal up good, Tommy. And don't you go riding in any more storms. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for everything. Ruth walks out of Memphis General into the morning sunlight, touching the cross pendant at her throat. She feels good about what she did. Proud, even. She has no idea that her act of kindness is about to cost her everything she has left, but she also has no idea that it's about to give her more than she ever dreamed possible. Ruth drives back to her diner Monday morning feeling lighter than she has in months. She helped people. It really helped them. For once, her kindness made a difference. That feeling lasts 3 hours. By lunch, the whispers start. Mrs. Patterson corners Ruth outside the grocery store. Ruth, honey, I saw those motorcycles at your place. You know what kind of people they were, don't you? Ruth shifts her grocery bag generic brands and day-old bread. They were people in trouble. Nothing more. But Ruth, they were Hell's Angels. My Herald says those people are dangerous. Drug dealers. Ruth walks away, but the damage is done. By Tuesday, the breakfast crowd is half its usual size. Mr. Jenkins still comes, but Maya doesn't bring her twins. Construction workers who used to grab lunch look nervous passing her windows. Wednesday brings 3 customers all day. Ruth sits behind the counter, watching potential customers approach, then change their minds and hurry past. Street fragments reach her ears. Heard she was mixed up with bikers. My wife won't let me eat there. Probably dealing drugs. Each whisper cuts deeper. Thursday's earnings, $28. Friday, $19. Ruth stares at the nearly empty register, fighting panic. She can't afford basic supplies now. But strange things keep happening. Tuesday afternoon, flower delivery arrives. Beautiful, expensive. No card, just ingratitude in an elegant script. Ruth studies them suspiciously. Some kind of signal? Payment for something she unknowingly agreed to? Wednesday brings premium coffee beans. No sender information. The delivery man shrugs when Ruth asks who sent them. Paid online. Sorry, lady. Ruth examines the coffee. expensive stuff. The kind that raises questions she doesn't want to answer. Wrong numbers start calling. People asking for Captain or the Memphis location. When Ruth says the wrong number, they hang up quickly. Too quickly. A black sedan appears regularly across from her diner. Different times, same car. Someone inside takes pictures of her building. Ruth calls Michael's business card number. Professional voicemail. You've reached Rodriguez Enterprises. Please leave a detailed message. Rodriguez Enterprises? What motorcycle club has corporate voicemail? Friday evening, Ruth sits alone in her empty diner. The eviction notice arrived that afternoon. 15 days to pay $4,800 or lose everything. Savings account balance, $73. Ruth touches Tommy's cross pendant, hanging next to Samuel's wedding ring. She pulls out the faded photograph of the teenage boy she helped years ago. Something about his eyes reminds her of Tommy from that stormy night. "Samuel," she whispers to his photograph, "I think I'm in more trouble than I realized." Outside, the black sedan drives slowly past one more time. 2 weeks have passed since that stormy night. 2 weeks since Ruth opened her door to 9 strangers who changed everything. It's 3 p.m. on what might be her last day of business. Ruth sits in her empty diner, staring at the eviction notice taped to her front window. 15 days have become 0 days. She has $19 in the register and a broken heart. The coffee machine wheezed its last breath this morning. The refrigerator makes sounds like a dying animal. Ruth can't afford to fix either one. She walks through her diner one final time, touching each table, each picture of Samuel. This place has been her whole world for 40 years. Tomorrow, it belongs to someone else. Ruth picks up the phone to call her landlord and surrender the keys. Her finger hovers over the numbers. That's when she hears it. The rumble of motorcycles. Ruth's blood turns cold. Are they back? Has her nightmare finally arrived to collect whatever debt she unknowingly owes? But this isn't 9 bikes. This is 50. Maybe more. The sound grows louder, closer, until it shakes the windows of her dying diner. Ruth peers through the glass and her knees nearly buckle. A procession of motorcycles stretches down the block, Harleys gleaming in the afternoon sun. Behind them, black SUVs, news vans. Dozens of cars. What looks like a small army assembling outside her failing restaurant. Neighbors emerge from buildings. People point and stare. Mrs. Patterson clutches her purse like she's witnessing an invasion. Ruth's hands shake as she recognizes the lead rider. Michael. Captain. Whatever his real name is. But now he's not alone. People in expensive business suits step out of the SUVs. Camera crews set up equipment. A woman with a microphone and perfect hair talks rapidly to a cameraman. Ruth's terror spikes. This is it. This is where they reveal whatever crime she's unknowingly committed, whatever price she has to pay for one night of kindness. Michael removes his helmet and approaches her door. His companions follow, leather and suits mixing in an impossible combination. Ruth's hand trembles as she unlocks the door. Every instinct screams, run. But where would she go? This is all she has. This is all she's ever had. Mama Ruth, Michael says, his voice warm despite the circus surrounding him. I owe you an explanation for everything that's happened these past 2 weeks. Ruth steps back, letting them enter. Her small diner fills with an impossible mix of bikers and business people. Camera crews hover at the edges. Michael, I don't understand what's happening. Michael smiles gently. Ma'am, my name is Michael Rodriguez, and I'm the CEO of Rodriguez Manufacturing, one of the largest motorcycle and automotive parts companies in the country. Ruth blinks. CEO? But you're a biker. Hell's Angels. Yes, ma'am, I am. These men with me were all military veterans who ride together once a month, but we're also business owners, executives, professionals. A man steps forward, removing his leather jacket to reveal an expensive suit underneath. Ma'am, I'm David Parker. I run West Coast Logistics for the company. We're all successful businessmen who happen to love motorcycles. Ruth's head spins. I don't understand. That's when Tommy steps forward. But this isn't the injured young man from that stormy night. This is someone in a tailored business suit, clean-shaven, looking every inch the successful executive. Ruth stares at him. Something familiar. Something that's been nagging at her for 2 weeks. Ma'am, Tommy says, his voice steady but emotional. Do you remember a scared 16-year-old boy who used to sleep in your back booth? Ruth's hand flies to her mouth. The photograph. The teenager she helped years ago. The boy who reminded her of someone. Tommy? Little Tommy who ran away from home? Yes, ma'am. I'm Thomas Rodriguez. This is my father. The world tilts sideways. Ruth grabs the nearest chair to steady herself. But you were just a baby. Skinny as a rail, so frightened. Michael's voice breaks slightly. Ma'am, 10 years ago my son disappeared. For 2 weeks I didn't know if he was alive or dead. I hired private investigators, called police in 5 states. I thought I'd lost him forever. Ruth looks between father and son, pieces clicking together like tumblers in a lock. He told me about his daddy, Ruth whispers. Said you'd been fighting, that he felt like he wasn't good enough. Thomas steps closer, tears in his eyes. Mama Ruth, you didn't just feed me those 2 weeks. You listened to me. You told me that running away doesn't solve problems, it just creates new ones. You made me call home. Michael continues. When Thomas came home, he told me about an angel who ran a diner in Memphis. The kindest woman in the world, he said. I've been searching for you ever since. Ruth's knees give out. She sits heavily in the nearest booth, overwhelmed. These past 2 weeks, Michael explains, we weren't spying on you. We were confirming you were the same person. Every act of kindness we witnessed proved what Thomas always said about you. The flowers, the coffee. Ruth's voice is small. We were trying to honor you, Thomas says, but we see now that our secrecy caused you pain. We heard about customers staying away, about your financial troubles. Ruth looks around at the cameras, the suited executives, the impossible scene in her dying diner. I lost everything, she whispers. I lost my customers, my income. I was just trying to help, and Michael turns to one of his companions. Call the landlord immediately. Pay the back rent in full. Call the utility company, clear all outstanding balances. He turns back to Ruth. Ma'am, we caused this damage. We're going to fix it. But more than that, Thomas says, pulling out his phone to show Ruth photos, graduation, wedding, children. Every good thing in my life traces back to those 2 weeks you cared for a stranger's son. Ruth stares at the photos. The scared teenager she once helped is now a successful businessman with a family of his own. I never knew. And that's exactly why, Michael says. We want you to be our partner in something bigger than any of us imagined. Ruth sits in stunned silence, watching this impossible scene unfold in her dying diner. Successful businessmen in leather jackets. Camera crews capture every moment. Her world turned completely upside down. Michael opens a tablet and places it in front of her. Mama Ruth, I want to show you something. The screen displays architectural renderings, beautiful, detailed drawings of what looks like her diner but transformed, expanded, gleaming with new equipment but keeping every detail she loves. This is what we want to do with Mama Ruth's kitchen, Michael explains. Complete renovation and expansion, but keeping the soul of what you've built here. Ruth stares at the images, her cramped little diner reimagined as something magnificent. 60 seats instead of 24. A modern kitchen. New floors, new equipment. But Samuel's photo wall is preserved exactly as it is. I don't understand. Thomas leans forward. Mama Ruth, we want to make you the flagship location for a new franchise concept. Mama's Kitchen's authentic, community-centered restaurants that serve as safe havens, just like this place was for me. David Parker opens a folder thick with documents. Let me explain the financial details. Full renovation of your current location, $200,000. New equipment throughout, another $150,000. We pay off all your back rent and outstanding bills immediately. Ruth's head spins. Those numbers are more money than she's seen in her entire life. Plus, David continues, $50,000 operating budget to get you started fresh. New inventory, new supplies, money to hire proper staff. Michael takes over. But here's the real opportunity, ma'am. You wouldn't be our employee. You'd be our founding partner. You'd own this location outright. Plus, receive a percentage of profits from every other Mama's Kitchen that opens. Within 5 years, Thomas adds, we project you could be earning 6 figures annually. But more important than the money, you'd be helping create a network of safe havens across the country. Ruth touches Samuel's photograph on the wall. I can't. This is too much. I'm just a woman who runs a little diner. No, ma'am, Michael says firmly. You're a woman who saved my son's life twice. Once when he was a scared teenager with nowhere to go. Again when he was bleeding in a storm. That's not just kindness, that's the foundation of everything we want to build. David spreads out more documents. The support system is comprehensive, professional marketing team, supply chain management, staff training programs, ongoing business consultation. You focus on what you do best, caring for people. We handle everything else. Ruth examines the papers, overwhelmed by the professional presentation. Contracts, projections, timelines. It's like something from a different world. The community impact, Thomas explains, extends far beyond the restaurant. We hire locally, partner with schools for job training programs, create scholarship funds for teenagers who need second chances. Just like you gave me, Thomas's voice cracks slightly. Michael points to another rendering. This diner becomes an anchor for neighborhood revitalization. Property values rise, but we advocate for programs to keep longtime residents from being displaced. Everybody benefits. Ruth looks around her empty diner, then back at the beautiful renderings. What if I change things too much? What if I lose what makes this place special? That's exactly why we want you, Michael reassures her. We don't want to change what you do, Mama Ruth. We want to help you do it better, for more people who need it. David outlines the timeline. The 6 months for complete renovation. During that time, you'd operate from a temporary location we'll provide, full salary and benefits throughout. You don't lose a day of income. Your regular customers, Mr. Jenkins, Maya and her twins, they'd know exactly where to find you, Thomas adds. This community doesn't lose its gathering place. Ruth thinks of Mr. Jenkins, counting his quarters every morning. Of Maya, stretching every dollar to feed her children. Of all the people over the years who needed a place where somebody cared about them. There's more, Michael continues. Part of this partnership includes training other franchise owners. You'd teach them your philosophy of hospitality. How to see people the way you saw Thomas, not as problems, but as people who need help. You'd be traveling to new locations, David explains, learning from the best community-centered restaurants in the country, but you'd be teaching them, too, about real hospitality. Ruth examines the legal documents. Everything is transparent, professionally prepared. I keep creative control? Over the menu, the atmosphere? Complete creative control, Michael confirms. You have veto power over any major decisions. This is your place, your vision. We just help you share it with the world. Thomas shows Ruth his phone again, photos of his children. Mama Ruth, these are your grandchildren too, Every person your kindness touches becomes family. That's what you taught me. Ruth looks at the photos, then at Samuel's picture on the wall. He always said this place could be more than just a diner, said it could be a beacon for people who need hope. He was right, Michael says quietly. And you proved it every single day. Ruth studies the contracts, the renderings, the faces of these people who want to honor her simple act of kindness from 10 years ago. I need to think about this. It's overwhelming. Of course, Michael stands. Take all the time you need. But know that we're committed to this vision, and we believe you're the only person who can lead it. Thomas approaches Ruth and takes her hands gently. Mama Ruth, your husband saved my father's life by showing him how to be a man. You saved my life by showing me how to come home. Let us save yours by showing you what your kindness built. Ruth looks around her struggling diner one more time, then at the architectural drawings of what it could become. Samuel, she whispers to his photograph, what do you think about all this? The answer, she realizes, is written in the faces of everyone around her. People whose lives were touched by simple kindness, now wanting to multiply that kindness across the world. Ruth said yes. Not immediately. She spent 3 days praying over the decision, but when she finally shook Michael's hand, the transformation began. 3 months later, construction crews arrived. Ruth watches her diner stripped down, every detail preserved. Samuel's photo wall gets special treatment stored safely until renovation is complete. Local news picks up the story fast. From storm shelter to business empire, how one woman's kindness created a franchise. Ruth gives interviews from the temporary food truck Michael provided. I just helped people who needed help, she tells reporters. That's what you're supposed to do. The story spreads. Social media explodes with hashtag Mama Ruth's kindness. Suddenly everyone wants to know about the grandmother who turned compassion into a business empire. The neighborhood buzzes. Maya brings her twins to watch construction daily. Mr. Jenkins sets up a sidewalk chair, providing commentary. Mama Ruth deserves every bit of this, he tells everyone. Ruth travels during renovation. She visits successful community restaurants across the country. Atlanta Soul Food employing ex-convicts. Detroit Diner training at-risk youth. Phoenix Cafe serving as a community center. Each visit confirms what she's always known. People need dignity, not just food. They need somewhere to belong. Reopening day arrives 6 months later. The new Mama Ruth's kitchen is magnificent. 60 seats in cozy clusters, gleaming open kitchen, Samuel's photo wall in place of honor, surrounded by pictures of lives Ruth touched. But important things haven't changed. Coffee flows freely. Portions are generous. Nobody leaves hungry. The grand opening draws lines around the block. The mayor cuts the ribbon. Michael and Thomas stand proudly beside Ruth as cameras flash. The real test comes the next morning. 6 a.m. sharp, Mr. Jenkins enters. Counts quarters on the shiny counter. Orders coffee and toast. Ruth smiles, pours coffee in his same chipped mug, charges 75 cents. Some things never change. Some things shouldn't. Within weeks, impact spreads beyond the restaurant. A bookstore opens next door, run by a retired teacher. Small grocery stores follow, offering affordable produce. An after-school program starts nearby. Property values rise, but Ruth advocates for affordable housing. She won't let success displace loyal neighbors. Franchise expansion happens fast. First, Mama's Kitchen opens in Atlanta, run by retired social worker Grace, who was once homeless herself. She understands needing shelter and kindness. Detroit follows, where former auto worker Marcus creates training for foster youth. Phoenix opens, run by a grandmother whose grandson was saved by community programs. Each location becomes what Michael promised community anchor, a place where everyone belongs. Ruth now drives a reliable Honda. lives in a renovated apartment above the diner, has steady income allowing greater generosity. Real success isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in teenagers learning job skills and life lessons. Families know they have a safe harbor. The community is growing stronger because one woman opened her door during a storm. Monthly motorcycle meetings continue, but are different now. Michael's executive riders share tables with neighborhood families. Leather jackets mix with school uniforms. Business deals discussed over Ruth's meatloaf. Ruth receives awards from the mayor, governor, Congress. She insists Michael and Thomas share every honor. "This wasn't my success," she tells reporters. "This is what happens when good people work together." Documentary crews arrive. Hollywood producers want her story. Ruth declines most offers, agrees to one film about second chances, proceeds funding runaway youth programs. 6 new locations opened within 2 years. Each owner embodies Ruth's values. Each becomes a neighborhood heartbeat. The employment program graduates 50 teenagers. Emergency Shelter Fund helps 30 families through crises. The scholarship program sends 12 kids to college. The network grows, but the mission stays pure. Feed people. Treat them with dignity. Offer second chances. Ruth visits each location, training owners in her philosophy. "See people as somebody's child who needs help," she always says. Corporate executives in leather jackets ride between locations, ensuring quality but never forgetting the mission. Business success is measured in lives changed, not just profits earned. National Magazine features Ruth on the cover. The grandmother who proved kindness pays. Ruth frames the magazine but keeps it in the back office. The front wall stays reserved for Samuel's photo and pictures of people she's helped. Every interview ends the same way. Ruth touches Tommy's cross pendant, joined by a small gold motorcycle pin gift from the Atlanta owner. "Kindness isn't charity," Ruth always says. "Kindness is investment. You put love into the world gives it back tenfold." 1 year later. The Weather Service issues another severe storm warning for Memphis. Rain pounds the city. Lightning splits the sky. Thunder shakes buildings. But this time, Ruth isn't alone. As the storm intensifies, headlights cut through darkness. Cars splash through flooded streets. Families hurry toward the warm glow of Mama Ruth's kitchen. The diner fills quickly. Maya and her twins claim their usual booth. Mr. Jenkins settles at the counter. A young mother with toddlers shakes rain from her coat. An elderly couple helps each other to a corner table. This is what Ruth's Diner has become, the neighborhood's unofficial emergency shelter. The place everyone knows means safety, warmth, acceptance. Ruth moves between tables, serving hot coffee and comfort. Her hair is grayer now, but her smile is brighter. This is her element taking care of people who need care. "More coffee, honey?" she asks the young mother. "I can't really pay right now," the woman admits quietly. Ruth fills the cup anyway. "Storm nights are in the house, baby." Nobody goes hungry when the weather's bad. Ruth touches the cross pendant at her throat. Tommy's gift, worn smooth by constant wear. Next to it hangs the small gold motorcycle pin from Grace in Atlanta and a tiny silver diner from Marcus in Detroit. Each pendant represents a life touched, a community transformed. The door chimes. Michael and Thomas enter, shaking rain from expensive coats. They visit Memphis regularly, checking on their most important investment. Tonight, they're not here for business. They're here because this is where the Rodriguez family comes during storms. "Mama Ruth," Thomas calls out. "Got room for 2 more refugees?" Ruth grins. "Always got room for family, baby." Michael and Thomas join the eclectic mix. CEO and son sharing space with construction workers and single mothers, leather jackets hanging next to school backpacks. Ruth brings them coffee and settles beside them. For a moment, she rests. "You know what I was thinking about?" she says, looking around. "That first storm night, when y'all showed up looking like my worst nightmare." Thomas laughs. "We probably did look scary." "Scared me to death," Ruth admits. "But Samuel always said angels come disguised as the people we're most afraid of." She gestures at the full diner. Young and old, rich and poor, all finding shelter together. Look what grew from one night of being scared but doing right anyway. Michael follows her gaze. "This is what success looks like, Mama Ruth. Not buildings or money. This." A teenage girl enters, soaking wet and clearly running from more than just storm. Ruth recognizes the look-same desperation Thomas had carried years ago. Without hesitation, Ruth approaches the girl. "Come on, honey. Let's get you dried off and fed. Whatever's chasing you can wait till the storm passes." As Ruth guides another lost child to safety, Thomas whispers to his father, "Some things never change." "Thank God for that," Michael replies. Ruth Washington's story reminds us of a simple truth. The smallest acts of kindness can create the biggest changes. A meal offered to a scared teenager became a thriving business empire. A door opened during a storm became a doorway to transformed lives. One grandmother's courage to help strangers became a network of safe havens across America. Every day, we encounter people who need help. The lost teenager, the struggling neighbor, the stranger in crisis. Ruth saw past her fear to recognize someone's child who needed care. You don't need wealth or power to change a life. Sometimes all it takes is treating someone with dignity when they're at their lowest point. Your kindness today might be someone's turning point tomorrow. Ruth proved that love multiplies when we give it away freely. That ordinary people can create extraordinary change through simple human decency. What act of kindness will you choose today? Share this story if it moved you, and let us know in the comments about a time when someone's kindness changed your life. Like and subscribe to Black Soul Stories for more stories that prove goodness is contagious.